Welcome to Family Peace Initiative's Curriculum Blips. In this podcast, we provide fast and easy resources for facilitators using the FPI suite of curricula to help you prepare before stepping into a group room. Whether you're brand new to BIP facilitation or using drive time to refresh yourself on familiar concepts, these blips are intended to help you get in the right frame of mind as you head into group. You'll hear from seasoned staff and FPI curricula authors on the key concepts and goals of each lesson, as well as what to expect from group members in these conversations. In this episode, we're continuing Section 3. Steve Halley, co-founder and co-director of the Family Peace Initiative, guides us through a concept that will come up again and again throughout the curriculum. Lesson 2 of this section, the shadow process. Let's get right to it.
The second week of the introspective sections, of the third section of our curriculum is the shadow message, the shadow process, and the shadow game show. And I love giving Audrey Kress credit for the shadow game show. What used to take us like an entire class to help people get through their tripwires and be able to identify a shadow message, Audrey helped us learn to do was to get it done in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So in the shadow game show, we staged this by a facilitator sharing pieces of their own shadow story. And I want you to know that we used to introduce this by somebody sharing a good 15 or 20-minute story about how their shadow was developed and how it played out in their lives and kind of sharing everything all at the same time. Once again, we found out that that was taking up a lot of time that could be better spent focusing on the participants and helping them understand their own shadow message. So we've kind of broken things up. Audra Fullerton created the idea of tripwires, the things that trip us up and activate us in a moment's notice. I can think of the tripwires that I stumble into are being disrespected and being lied to and somebody who's very arrogant. I find that commonly when I am activated, I'm feeling something like that is going on in whatever the environment is that I'm experiencing. If I'm staging this, I would talk to the group a little bit about what happens to me when those tripwires get activated. And then we would just ask to have them share what tripwires activate them. And we might make a graph on the board, put everybody's name in a square, and ask them to name 3 tripwires, 3 qualities or characteristics that they see in other people that when they see them, they're commonly activated. You can feel this emotional response to seeing that characteristics or quality in somebody else. And so we do it together. The beauty of the game show is that one person might say, drives me crazy when people lie to me. And 6 other people might go, oh, me too. Oh, yes. And so we just have people raise their hand. How many people would say lying is a tripwire? And then we would write that on the board and we would capture 6 tripwires just in one person saying this quality. And then we'd have somebody else, I don't like people who are condescending or arrogant. And then we would just ask the group, what about you guys? How many people react to condescending or how many react to arrogance? How many react to somebody who's real critical or boisterous or whatever the characteristics and qualities might be? And within a short time, our goal is just to get 3 for each person in the group. Another interesting change in this process is that we used to try to get kind of a shadow message. What does that behavior say about me for each tripwire? And we kind of discovered over the years that we don't need to get one for each. So for example, my tripwires of lying, disrespected, and someone who's being really arrogant, we used to get a message for each one of those. And now we just kind of ask, so when these things happen, when somebody lies and is disrespectful and arrogant, what does it feel like that they're saying about you when those 3 things happen? Whether they happen all at once or individually, what's the message that we get from people who are behaving that way? And for me, my shadow message is that I'm stupid and worthless. And those 3 are beautiful tripwires to help me feel my shadow message activated. We've really made things more efficient in the process. And the goal of the shadow game show section, the second week of the introspection section, is to help people get through the game show and identify their shadow message. So in the box, once we have the 3 tripwires, then we're talking about what does it feel like when these things happen to you? What does it feel like people are saying? And by the way, that's commonly a sticking point where people are moving from externally focused, I hate it when they lie to me, to an internal focused, oh, when someone lies to me, I feel like they're telling me that I'm stupid. It's very hard for some people to make that move from external to internal. So we have to be patient and gently kind of work with people. And if they can't get it, if they can't move to an internal focused statement, I would argue that it's okay because it'll all make sense to them by the time they hear some shadow stories the next week. And so do the best that you can. But if somebody's really stuck on, well, no, it says something more about them and not me, then you could just say, thanks, we'll just keep plugging away with this lesson and see if something else changes and gives along the way. But we'll just leave it alone for now. So once we get the tripwires, we try to help them identify, oh, when those three things happen, this is what it says about me, that I'm stupid, that I'm worthless, that I'm nothing, that I'm insignificant. That's all we need to do. And then we give them a homework assignment for the next week that says, great, now what we'd like you to do is be able to identify when was the first time that you got that message in your life. The research is kind of clear. Before puberty is when these things start getting lined up. There's plenty of other opportunities after puberty where people will say, oh, when my girlfriend broke up with me, oh, when that teacher said those things. Those are good examples of a shadow message being activated. But I can pretty much promise you, if people are really clearly able to be internally focused, if they can see their story, they will see something in their pre-puberty lifestyle where they found an important person or an important situation where they got this message first. They don't need to get all the way down to the first message, but when's a time, the earliest time you can remember, and people will be able to nail that. They'll be able to tell you, oh, my dad when I was in 6th grade, my brother when I was in 1st grade, whatever it would be. And then the next week, the homework assignment is to get that first message and then to be able to come back and tell the story of how the shadow message played out in their lives. When did they first get it? Did you try to prove it to be true or not true as you grew up? And there's a lot of different ways that plays out. How did you, when you picked relationships, did you pick partners who would reinforce your shadow message, or did you pick partners that you could give your shadow message to? Almost all cruelty is about us giving our shadow message away to someone else, a group of people, or a whole, culture, as a matter of fact. And so how do we look at giving that away, proving it to be true, not true? And then, of course, if their shadow message wasn't true, which is probably the most important question here, is what would be more true? Steve, if you're not stupid and worthless, what would be more true? If you knew that was absolutely ridiculous, oh, I would be okay. I would be fine. And if I knew I was fine, if you believed that golden shadow message, what would change? And the answer for me in my life was if I could believe that I was okay, everything would change. And quite honestly, everything did. So the next week, when people bring back their homework assignment, it's really show and tell. It's kind of presentation. You put a chair in the front of the room or highlight somebody, and they would just share their shadow story. We just call it story time. And people come and share the story of their shadows. Good luck with this. I really enjoy this week of the curriculum because people are practicing the internal focus dialogue. They're getting away from external focus conversation, and they're starting to learn that every time they get emotionally activated, that their shadow message is involved. And we're either going to be responsible for it, recognize it, and manage it, or we're at risk of giving it away to others or heaping it on ourselves.
Thanks for preparing for your group with us today. If you have questions, stucks, or if there's a section of the curriculum you'd like to hear us explore in more detail, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at reception@familypeaceinitiative.com or submit a contact form on our website. Family Peace Initiative, working to serve our clients and community with compassion, integrity, and expertise.